G'day ladies and gents, FULLFACE here, coming to you live and direct from Bunbury, Western Australia. It's a brand new 2016 model, just released in Australia, Mt03. Now, we just unboxed this one the other day. See, it's got 84 kilometres on it, most of them are mine. I'm going to take you for a little ride and just tell you my thoughts. I've had it one day so far, just borrowing it from work for the weekend. The first thoughts are that this thing is an excellent little commuter bike. If you're going to be buzzing around town, in and out of the city, just stuff like this all day long, awesome. It's got an excellent seating position, although it is a little bit cramped, especially in the seat. I feel like I'm hard up against the tank, also hard up against the rear of the seat. It's a bit strange, but it's just, it feels like it's for a smaller rider than I am. The instruments and dash are awesome, extremely visible, a lot better than on, say, the Ninjas or maybe an R3 where it's got the, obviously got a screen over it and all that sort of stuff. It handles excellently. It's quite a short wheelbase on this bike. And I will very shortly take you out to a car park where I'll just show you exactly what I mean, but this thing handles around town just amazingly. It goes really well too. This is the same frame and engine out of the R3, so it's a 321cc parallel twin, and it goes amazingly well. It actually lugs really well. As you see, I just come out of that roundabout at 35-40 k's an hour in 4th gear, no problems whatsoever. Obviously being fuel injected, it's quite responsive, and it goes really well. This being a brand new bike, I don't want to obviously be on the rev limiter straight away. I'm sure my boss would love that, but yeah, it lugs just from the bottom just perfectly. You can just, for round town stuff, you don't even have to get it even to $6 grand. You could just quietly cruise anywhere you need to. Now, the dash on this thing is really good too, and I was riding it around last night and checking out how it sort of went with the lights on the dash and all that sort of stuff. This little thing here is a shift light. You've got your indicator light up the top here, a high beam and a neutral light, or indicator light, and you've got your trip buttons on the side there. You've got 2 trip meters. I don't know whether, I suppose that you could still call it digital temperature, but it doesn't give you like a digital number readout, it just gives you like a bar. A bar fuel meter, a clock, a gear indicator, which is really quite handy, I've found. Even though I've never had a problem with my bike, which doesn't have one, I've caught myself looking at it a couple of times. 2 trip meters and a speedo and an analog tacho. So a really good feature set for a dash on a bike this value packed. It's quite good. We're retailing this bike, I think, at $5,990 or $5,890. I have to check on that when I go back. But for what you pay, you're getting a whole lot of bike. Now, the handlebar setup, if anyone's familiar with the R3, is a little bit different. It's got the straight bars on it, similar to a motocross bike, and a lot higher or more upright seating position. I find it quite comfortable. Again, it's just very small in the seating area department for me that I've found. Very quiet, as you can probably barely hear it through the microphone now, but it's also very responsive. As we'll see, we'll take off from the lights. Goes awesome. Well, it's a lot better than my Ninja 250. I wish I'd held out for a fuel-injected Model 8. Right, that's what you get. Cruises along quite nicely at 80 kilometres an hour. Obviously you get a bit of wind, not having a screen or a deflector. It does feel a little bit, I have noticed, that the screen sort of deflects like this. There's nothing, and then it sort of hits me right in the center of the visor. But I'm sure you can fix that with an aftermarket accessory or anything like that. Yeah, it cruises around quite nice. The mirrors on this thing, they're very good, and they're a lot better than the sports bikes. For me anyway. I can see out of these things just by turning my head. I don't have to move my arms or anything like that. They're very good. You've got a little pass button on the front there, and I think that flashes the lights. It's a pretty cool little feature. So yeah, a great little bike for commuting or getting around town, or your beginner. I've said a few times with the Mt03, I wouldn't, if you've never ridden a bike before, now only if you've never ridden a bike before, like not a dirt bike or anything like that, I wouldn't recommend you go out and just buy an Mt03 straight off the bat. It's probably not the greatest idea. You're probably going to drop it, and I'm not being rude or mean to anyone or anything like that. I did it. Hey, I've been riding most of my life. I bought my road bike and I still managed to drop it twice. So yeah, I've said before, I wouldn't recommend anyone buying a brand spanking new one if you haven't owned a motorcycle before or a road bike. Maybe get a second-hand one if you would. But if you know what, if you're going to buy a new bike, this is very affordable. Like I said, we're selling this one in Australia at our store for $5,990. So it's quite a bargain, really. It's a whole lot of motorcycle for your money. Quite an aggressive front end. I think it looks awesome. A couple of grab rails at the back. As you can hear, it's not very loud or anything like that. Now the brakes on this thing are very good. It's got ABS. And what I might do now is I'll just head out to a little car park and show you exactly what I mean about the beginner-friendly handling and ergonomics. Rightio, ladies and gents. I'm just taking you out to this car park at the moment to just show you a couple of good features that I think is just awesome for a beginner about this bike. Alright, check this turning circle out. That's not even full lock. That's just cruising it. That's nothing. Alright? That's awesome. 2. I'm not a huge fan of ABS. Maybe that's just because I've been riding most of my life. These people won't hate me for this. But this works very well if you're a beginner. See that? I purposely went over those bumps there. Not one lock-up. Perfectly smooth. And if you would have maybe heard click, click, click in the pedal, that's the ABS kicking in. Works extremely well. I came out here last night to do a little photo shoot, just here, and was testing it the same way, and it's just awesome. So one more time. Stops on a dime. The brakes on this thing are awesome. For the learner class bike it is, and I don't want to say it's cheap. I don't want to use the word cheap, because this thing, it's for what you pay for it, you get extreme value. I think that's what it is. You get value for your money with this bike. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back on our way to the Twisties. I just thought I'd show you what the acceleration was like. So I'm just going to slow up. I'll come to a really, really quiet road up the back here. There's no cars coming or anything like that. So I'm just going to slow down. I'm just going to show you for 3 gears. And that's 100. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the bottom of the hill. Oh, see this? And we're about to check it out. Now, a couple other things I've noticed on my trip out here that I'll just point on. A lot more wind noise than a full-fared bike. Not having a screen really shows up. 2, the suspension on this bike around town. I didn't touch on it around town for a purpose because I wanted to contrast when I first got into the Twisties, just to see whether I was getting a little bit deceived by only riding it around town. But happily no. This bike has excellent suspension. Maybe just because it's me. If you're a heavier rider, it's probably show up a little bit different. But up here and in town, there's very little dive. I mean, unless you slam on those brakes, there's very little dive. You're side to side very well. Change of direction is, it's not as sharp as say an R3, but it's still very good. It feels like an R3 with a steering dampener, or a Ninja 300 with a steering dampener. Now, coming up here as well, I notice being fuel injected, you know, it's great. The response is great up through the hills. I came up here last weekend on my bike actually, and it did struggle a little bit. I have carbies. This actually, it goes up pretty quickly over sea level. And I noticed my bike towards the top of this little hill, you know, starting to, you know, it was running very lean. And the fuel injection and fueling on this bike is very, very good, straight from factory. Now, as soon as you start chucking, you know, air filters and exhausts on it, okay, you're probably going to have to tweak it, but it's very good from the get-go. As you can see as well, this thing just handles beautifully. It just cruises. Like I said before, it's a very good lugger, even though it's a more of a sports bike engine, or it's an engine from a sports bike or an entry-level sports bike. It's very good at low revs, and as you've seen before when I just did the acceleration videos, it's very good in the top as well. Now, I find that this thing probably has almost slightly better top end than a standard MT-07 straight off the floor. The MT-07 lugs around heaps better, and it has a lot more and just straight off the bottom. But in the top end, this thing, it just keeps going and going, where the MT-07 is restricted. And you can feel that difference. So yeah, in this bike you have a little bit less on the bottom, but I'd say almost slightly more on the top. Being lighter as well, it probably plays a big role. So I'm sorry if you're getting a little bit of wind noise. My setup is usually made for my Ninja, which has a screen on it, obviously. The gravel on the road there. And yeah, so this might be a little bit louder than usual, but I hope you can hear me alright. And this is probably the first time I've taken you guys into some of the little hills I like to ride. This is about 10 minutes from home, 15 minutes from home. If I just want to go for a quick squirt but I want to be in the Twisties, I usually come up here and go up and down this road a couple of times. If I want to go out for the day, I'll keep going, and this actually goes all the way down south if you want to take it that far. And there's lots of good roads like this, and they get even more intense the further down south you go. It's very, very scenic as well, as you can see. The only thing being, this is more of a rural road, so you do get that odd bit of gravel, you do get the honky nuts. There is the odd kangaroo, probably more than the odd kangaroo to be honest, and cow. So yeah, you just got to pay that bit of attention. It's a nice road, just to have a good cruise. So yeah guys, in summary, the Mt03 for $5,990 or cheaper depending, you know, what sort of deal you get, or I'm sure they're going to go down in price soon. It won't stay that for forever. So you pick one of these up. If you're a learner, you want to get a new bike, you're going to cruise around town more often than not. You can see that patch of gravel, that's what I'm talking about. This is a great bike. This is a great starter bike. If you've already had a road bike, if you're, say, coming off a Ninja 250, you probably want to step up to the Mt07 at least, if you're not going for your open class license or something like that. So what I'm going to do, guys, this is the end of this little road. I'm going to do a U-turn. I'm going to head back down there, a little cruise. And that's me. So thanks for watching, guys. Full face out.